about this as primarily as an economic problem. It doesn't mitigate that education, addiction, mental illness, these are all factors, but there are plenty of people with mental illness who are housed in this county. There are plenty of people with addictions who are housed in this county. There are people that don't want to work that are housed in this county, right? So all these things are complicating and mitigating factors that impact homelessness, but I want to suggest that the primary way to think about the problem of homelessness is as an economic problem. People lack homes because they can't afford them. Those other things don't help. Lack of education doesn't help. Addiction doesn't help. Mental illness doesn't help. But again, there are others in our own families, if we were to poll the room, who struggle with mental illness and with addiction, and they're housed just fine. We're in the middle of a shift, though. So for probably 100 years in America, we thought of homelessness as primarily a moral problem. In the religious community, they would call it a sin problem. And so you had rescue missions and Salvation Army, and Salvation Army's slogan was soup, soap, salvation. Right? The problem is primarily a moral problem, and the solution then is a moral solution. Let's help people make better choices. If they make better choices, they won't do drugs, they'll work hard, they'll get their education, and then they'll afford housing. And the shift has come from the data in the last 20 years or so to say, no, those issues are real, but the primary problem is an economic problem. And so let's get people housed first. This is the housing first model, which the data supports now, and HUD is all in on housing first. Let's get them housed first, and then you deal with the wraparound services. Then you deal with the addiction and the mental health and the job training and the education while a person's housed. It's better for the person, it's better for the society that surrounds that person. So I don't expect everyone to agree with that, but I want to throw that out as our perspective, and one that points you to that study in terms of some data that backs that up.
Can I make a quick follow-up comment?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Just in the interest of time, we were supposed to wrap this up at 7. It's 7:17. I'm going to let the supervisor give some closing comments, and then additional questions can be asked once we close.
Are you going to ask questions after we close?
No, I'm not. They might.
Oh, but we're going to stay? Or
Yeah, no, if anybody wants to.
Okay. Well, I've said a lot. I don't think there's a whole lot of closing comments. I do question some of the housing first, the assumptions under that model. Drawing from my experience and remember, I was a public defender representing indigent defendants for 4 years, as well as a prosecutor for 8 years. So I've seen things from both sides. If we were to subscribe to the housing first model, and people are not ready for housing, the housing we give them, we provide them, will become crack houses. Okay? It'll be flop houses. That's the reality. Okay? So, and when I first started working on a model for homelessness for the county, I looked at a lot of models across the country. San Antonio, Orlando, New York City, Utah, and I even got on the phone with the people that ran those programs and some academics from universities, just so I can kind of pick their brains on what is it that they think is right. And the thing that struck me as really ironic, Matt, is this. Each nonprofit, each person who specializes in, let's say, drug addiction problem or mental health, or they all think the solution starts with them. Okay? That's the thing. I'm a novice. I will be the first to tell you. I haven't spent more than 2.5 years working on this. And I don't do it every day at the front line. So I'm a novice. But the so-called experts that talk to me, if I were to ask them for a solution, it starts with them. Yeah. And so that's why, because of the experience that I had, that's why I came up with the care coordination. Because I believe at the end of the day, it's going to have to be a panoply of resources so that we can help people in the situation that they're in. And what Susan Price said, and I agree with her wholeheartedly, we have, like I mentioned to you earlier, about 2,200 individuals who are homeless outside, unhoused, each night. And she always said there are 2,200 solutions, because there is no solution that's going to be common for 2 people, much less 2,200. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Doe, and thank you, Matt Bates, for sitting in. We appreciate your time this evening. And thank you, all of you, for coming this evening, sharing your comments, concerns, questions. We all know that together we can hopefully find some solutions to the homeless crisis here in Orange County and what we're dealing with in Garden Grove. The patio is not closed, even though the meeting is coming to a close. So please, please go get some coffee and continue talking.
I want to say thank you to Supervisor Doe because I know that you have put so much time and effort into the homeless situation and you speak so authoritatively but common sense as well. And I really want to thank you for the work that you've done in the county. I also want to thank everybody here who took the time out of their day to come out. I'm sure there's more fun and important things in your lives, and I want to thank you all. Thank you to Officer Hatfield as well and all of our public service officers. Thank you guys. And all those that I forced to come out.
One last few words. It's so nice to see Josh and Jonathan. To see new blood being out, right? Younger guys coming up. It really is cool because for how many years? Just a few of us, right? With the Garden Grove Downtown Business Association and Neighborhood Association. So really cool to see you guys taking a leadership position and helping out.
Thank you all again so very much. Be on the lookout for the next Meet on Main. We'll post it on the Garden Grove Neighborhood Association Facebook page, and maybe we can get that